Are Cockatrices for Beastmen any good in patch 6.2? We return to the Cockatrice, focusing on it for the Beastmen because one of you asked, and I need little excuse to do a bird video. I'll even revisit the Phoenix Eye at some point. So let's take a look at the cost benefit when the big bird comes from unit caps, not from Tzeentch favor per se. Recruited for 0 gold, 1100 in multiplayer, the Cockatrice hails on ultra scale with 6120 health, cawing distance from a doom wheel. However, there are 800 barrier hit points to protect it on the swoop. In contrast, Armor 35 is far squishier, but hey, this flies, and also missile resistance 25% is not a bad piece of help. Leadership 60 is okay. Speed 90 and charge speed 88 are in the air figures. Melee attack begins at 46, we've seen worse, and inflicts magical attack and poison with each peck, and that's significant. Attack interval is the standard 4 seconds, splash target size is large, so trolls on down, and max targets actually damaged is 4. Melee defense 38 is very decent for its ilk. Weapon strength 420 is not dragon high, but not bad. Split base 125 and armor piercing 295. Charge bonus is 40 and mass is 1600 for the single entity, which is middleweight in the big picture. There will be difficulty escaping blobs. The active ability, Petrifying Gaze, here's how it works. There are 4 phases for this. 32 second duration, range is 50 meters, 1 use per battle. For the first 8 seconds of actual effect, the target is minus 25% speed. For the next 8, minus 50% speed. For the next 8, minus 75% speed. For the final 8, cannot move, as if netted in place. After that, the effect breaks. Not complicated, and basically, if you badly want something to die and need it to slow and stop for Torx to smash it in the face, use this. Slow effects overlap with differently named slows generally. This is a siege attacker and inflicts fear and terror. In the Beastmen Redline skill specifically, Freakish Mutations at 3 pips grants melee attack plus 4 and weapon strength plus 9%. Bestial Butchers grants rank 7 one's missile resistance an extra 15%, melee attack plus 5 and weapon strength plus 12%. Relative to other factions, the 3-pip one is weak and rank 7 and up 1 is pretty strong, but overlapping them gets you pretty good net results. Just note the complete lack of defense help. In the tech tree, Gaze of the Dark God in the Beasts part of the tree grants Old School Regeneration with Old School 20% weakness to fire, but Regeneration on a flying barrier monster? Impressive. This wasn't working correctly for all Beastmen Lords, but in 6.2 that's been fixed. So how do we use the Cockatrice with the Beastmen? The last part was not least by any stretch. Regeneration and Barrier, once you get the Regeneration part, changes how you use this in campaign by giving you much more reasons to do hit and run, not hit and commit. You want to go after a good target, maybe a caster on a chariot too armored for basic hounds to aggrieve, and use the gaze and make it vulnerable to your forces. Peck at it, potentially kill it, and then when the time is right, get away and go after something else, but the gaze is once per battle. Overall, this is flying death the Beastmen just weren't getting otherwise unless it was like Harpies or Feral Manticores, and that just wasn't good enough. The Cockatrice is a much more credible, non-rampaging threat, and that makes it nice and useful. Also, being a source of both magical attack and poison makes it an unusually strong counter pick, because poison isn't something you see tons and tons of in the faction, though it's around. Poisoning a target for Minotaurs can pay for itself in a short, sharp engagement, and that's what your ideal is, because the splash target's damage is a bit on the narrow side. On the other hand, it's a middling but efficient assassin monster, just good enough to try and inflict it on choice targets, and otherwise it's a flying terror monster, so that's like Call France on Deathclaw in terms of setting it to the point of greatest friction to shake stuff loose, just with less impact. That's fine, armor piercing is good stuff, and over a campaign will pay for itself many times over. I think that's about all we need to go over. It is by no means an overpowered monster, but the speed and ability to place it fairly well, and also to try and pin things strategically once per battle, means it has a place as a feature monster in plenty of builds. Take care and have fun pecking the statue that was your mortal enemy moments before. Since it's a game, you don't have that long to do it, but a free shot at the enemy lord or something is worth it regardless.